What's good, residents of the Lunarian Crescent? It's SorenPlays, and we're back again with another deck profile video. I know it's been a while, but we just got done doing the Premier Tournament on the 7th of June, day after my birthday, so this was quite a treat. I topped again, and I will be going over the deck I topped. Now, I won't just be going over the deck I topped, because I realize this deck is an evolution of two previous decks that I've worked with for Frost, and I consider this more of a redemption arc for me. So let's go into the first time I ever built a deck like this for Frost and watch it slowly evolve into the deck that I used in the premiere and got 7th place in. Alright, let's get started. The very first Frost, when they came out, you can tell it's an old deck because I booted up on my phone the Elestrals app to pull up this deck list. I even looked at my previous video for this deck list. It got 11th place in the very first premiere tournament I ever did, which was the digital app premiere. I only ever did one, and it was with this deck, and I got 11th. I barely bubbled out. I was super disappointed. You can tell this is really old, like I was saying, because it has 2 Lavalists in here. You can't have 2 Lavalists anymore. This was very wild of a deck list for me. Let's break it down. So we have 2 Lavalists. Pretty standard back in the Frostfall meta to have 2 Lavalists. Pop in the back row. Just Frostfall alone showed why Lavalists should have been hit. We have 2 Narpoons to search for any of my starters. My Catarants, my Frostics if I need it, my Frigicubs, my Cryolings. It's a great starter. We have the 2 Joltons to search out for my Stadiums. Stadiums were sort of a big thing, and Joltons were really your main go-to to get your searchers out for your Stadiums. Now they're introducing new cards that allow to search for stadiums, so you're not just reliant on Thunder. Excuse me. You have your 3 Catarants, pretty standard for healing. Can't go wrong. You need those. Those are your 4th, 5th, and 6th versions of Ambrosia. Just not as great. Well, it's basically the same. You have your Frostics to revive. You can bring back your Catarants for more healing. Frigicub or Cryoling to to turbo out into Cryoburn. I remember that's a pretty standard play to do, and I still do it to this day. We have 2 Cryoburns. I can kind of see why you could do 3 Cryoburns, but I think 2 is good enough. We have 2 of the old Shiveroars, which with Mountains is just the only way to really out it is a Shield of Achilles. Getting wrong there. Then you have your 3 Tsunamis. You have 2 Blizzards, 2 Keones, 2 Frost. Pretty standard. Blizzards not so much, but Blizzards were a great way for back row removal and to help get Turbo Frost Spirits in the Underworld to get Cryoling ready to go into Cryoburn like as soon as possible. So you have your standard 3 Ambrosias, 3 Shields, 3 Gorgons, and I only ran 2 BTAs. If I were to go back to this original deck list, which you can't, but if I were able to, I'd probably cut a Tsunami and put that 3rd PTA in. Just to go along with this current meta. Because back then, PTA wasn't that big of a card compared to Shield and Gorgons. I don't know why I'm blanking. No side deck. This was during the time where I did not believe in a side deck. I still believe in no side deck, but I've been using side decks more. The Spirit math is pretty simple. We have 1 Thunder just between the 2 Joltons. I get 1 Jolton out, I do the search, I get my Stadium, I play my Stadium. That second one just becomes a misenchanted Frost to get benefit from it. I have 2 Vapyro between the 2 Lavalith, so it increases my chances to get the Lavalith, but I only have to use it once, and then if it gets destroyed, I just Ambrosia those 2 back, and then the second one is ready to go. I have 3 Water. Now, the 3 Water is split between 3 Tsunamis and the Narpoons. Depending on how my hands go, I will definitely use them for my Narpoon searchers to extend out my board and then my deck. And then, once again, Ambrosia to get back the extra ones I may need for Tsunamis. And then the rest of Frost. I mean, pretty standard. You can't go wrong here. This was, I called Frost Fall Down, I believe is the name of this deck. Yes. No, this is Frost Beatdown. Excuse me. This is the Beatdown deck. Now, you'll see there are a lot of similarities between this deck and the final deck. It's this middle deck that put me in a totally different direction with Frost. So this is a beatdown. Now we will go to what I called Frost Nexus Control. And this meta came about when Broomelings, the original, came out in Daybreak. So we went from Frostfall, now we're in Daybreak meta. How different is it? It's simple. Daybreak brought Ferrogeist. What do I need to out Ferrogeist and Rabbits? Veritoclas. My perfect answer for the Rabbits and Ferrogeist. And Armadons. Veritocla, highly recommended and needed. You have your 3 Broomelings to help lock down back row. You have your 3 Cateran again. You have 1 Enfrostix. I have the 3 Frigid Cups that came out in Frostfall to help Nexus and keep cards on the field. Because once you get this engine going, it's great. And then I have Frost Knights to also help with defense position Elestrals to get over it if I don't have Veritocla. Frost Knight outs the Rabbits. It outed the Whale. Whale was a big factor in this meta. And this is the perfect out for Whale. I have Pulsars. Pulsar was a crazy choice. I put Pulsars in this deck, not understanding that its effect is not what I thought it was. I thought it was for each Frost Spirit in the Underworld, it gets +1 up to 5, so it becomes 7. In this case, it's Elestrals, which Pulsar technically... Excuse me one second. Pulsar actually would be great in a Moralith deck, or like the Wind Moralith Blistrix deck, just because you can basically get it to a 7 attack right off the bat, and it's a 1 cost. Maybe that's something I'll tinker with. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Blistrix and stuff. But then you have your Tad Flows to help turbo out your 2-drops, which I'll go into. So we only have 2 2-drops in this deck. We have a Polarachne, which, if you're a fan of spiders, I don't think this spider is going to see a lot of play in the new spider deck. It's unfortunate because your opponent's Elestrals get -2 attack, which means in order to get over Polarachne, you need a normal natural 8 attacker to be able to swing over it. Now, if I had a Stadium, which I don't have a Stadium in this deck, so I don't know what I was doing. If I had a Stadium in this deck, you would go to a 7, you would need a 10. Or you would just Eddie him and whatnot, but then Eddie you would crash. But he was basically a free Cryoblast, essentially. Well, it's the same cost, but you would pop an Elestral with 2 or less attack versus defense like Cryoblast would. So Polarachne would basically make anything that's a 4 go down to a 2, and then you can pop it. So it's a different version of Cryoblast, but for attack, which I think was really cool at this time. Then you have your Shiveroar. Even though I didn't have a Stadium in this deck, I don't know. This was more of a control lockdown. The main purpose was getting Polarachnes out. You can easily swap this one out for a second Polarachne and call it a day. But then you have, for runes, you have your 3 Tsunamis, 3 Keones, just to help recycle back your Elestrals like Catarans to keep that engine going. You have your 3 Ambrosias. You have 2 Altar Stars. Now this is the meta where you kind of needed to go back to 3 PTAs, but it kind of died back down again. But at the time I was on 3 PTAs, 3 Shields, 3 Gorgons. Now Spirit Math for this Spirit Math is going to be similar to the very end. So it's interesting, I took aspects of both decks and put them together, right? So for the first one, I took most of the Elestrals and ideas behind it, and then this one I basically kind of took the Spirit Math out, and you'll see. But once again, no side deck. This was more of a casual deck. I don't think I ever took this to any of the premier tournaments. This was more of just casuals. You can ask Stella Kristoff. Polarachne was disgusting. That's all I need to say. Now, let me swap over to the screen. This is the deck that got top 7. Ooh, fancy transition. Now, how different is this deck compared to the others? Not so much. Watch. We'll have the 3 Catarants standing in all 3 versions. You have the new Broomelings champion, which took the place of Joltons, but it's better. So, Broomelings Keone is in element. When it's cast, I can search for the Stadium, like I would a Jolton, or I can search a Blizzard, which was also in the first deck. Now, one of the things I'd like to do, so I have 3 of them, Sometimes I would reveal in Frostix, expend my 2, and bring out Brimlinks, and Brimlinks' effect would happen again, and that would allow me to get another either Mountain or Blizzard. Usually a Blizzard, because most of my opponents didn't really deal with my Stadium, which I feel is the wrong answer. I feel in this current meta, Stadium Wars is going to be a big thing, especially when you're up against Spiders and Bears. But yeah, plus it's a natural 4, with the Stadium becomes a 5 attacker. Really strong. Now to pair with that, I have 2 of the old school Brimlinkses. Now the old school Brimlinkses are there to lock down back row and to help Nexus cards around. If Catarant's on the field, I can Nexus to Catarant to heal spirits and slowly gain and build back. If you saw in the premiere match, I think it was round 7 on the Elestrals stream, I probably healed 6 or 7 spirits, like 8 spirits off of Catarant near the end of the game, just to stay ahead. It was really fun. Plus, Brimlinks is really great for a back row. If I have paired it with this Brimlinks, he now becomes a 6 defense. Good luck getting over him. We have the standard 3 Cryoling package. Cryoling is a great beater in this deck. Once again, I play Blizzards. I pop your back row to clear up the less likelihood of you being able to get over my Cryovern. And then with enough spirits, Cryoling just ascends into Cryovern, and then Cryovern just starts beating you down. Or Brimling starts locking down back row. It's just snowballs from there. Then I have 2 Cryoverns. You can argue you can do 3 Cryoverns, but I still think 2 is spot on right now. But like I said, you can test it out. Maybe 3 works for you, but for me, I like 2. There were probably times where I could have ran 3, but 2 is fine. Then I have one of the new Frigicub, which, after talking to a few people, I could probably see why I should run 2. Because what this Frigicub does is, when he's on the field once per turn, I can get a Blizzard from my Underworld and add it back to my hand. So I can keep that cycle going. But for this current iteration, I have 2 of the old Frigicubs to help with the Nexus aspect. Because what the whole goal is of this deck is to have enough spirits on the board and keep regenerating enough spirits to play on the board in a situation where I never have to pay runes for the most part out of my spirit deck. And I will say that backfired on me in one of my matches where I should have played off the extra spirits off of my field, but instead I paid for my deck, and it lost me the game because I did not have enough to do what I needed to do. So that's why it's important for this iteration to pay extra spirits when you don't need it off of your board. Now, I play one of the new Shiveroars. Now, the new Shiveroar is completely busted. So what this one does is I can expend 1 Frost in order to special cast one of my Frigicubs from my Underworld to the field. What you would do for this Shiveroar is you would generally go for this Frigicub, then to get the Blizzard from your Underworld to your hand, and then you would play that Blizzard to pop one of their back row, and at the same time, Shiveroar, when you cast a Blizzard, it's like the old Titanic Strike, you get to pop an Elestral afterwards. So that's like an amazing combo right there. I did like to do and bring back this Frigicub and then start Nexusing and start powering up the board as well and go from there. But to pair with this old Shiveroar, I wanted the new Shiveroars because on the mountain, this Shiveroar can wreck shop. Because what this one does is I can enchant a Frost from the Underworld to the field as well, and then I can use that extra spirit to Nexus off a Frigicub onto something and then start regenerating more. Or make this a really strong beater. I think in one of our matches, I had Catarant become a 5 or a 6 attacker because of Stadium and then just the amount of spirits I had under him. So it was really cool to see. I have 2 in Frosty 6 to help speed up the Cryo into a Cryovern package or to bring back another Elestral. It's really great, Turbo. That's really the only purpose of Frost 6 in this deck. Then for the runes, we have the 3 mountains. I was watching Trish's stream yesterday. I know this is dating the video, but whatever. And he was saying he thought 3 mountains was a little ridiculous. I disagree. There are so many ways. Like I was saying earlier, Stadium Wars is very important, right? So if I'm against Bears, they're going to keep trying to play Ursaden. Or if there's a Lavalith and they can't get over one of my guys just because of the Stadium is on the field, they're going to probably pop my Stadium to get over my guys. And I need mountains. Well, I don't necessarily need mountains, but the more mountains I have, it's so easily searchable that I will rarely ever lose to Stadium Wars. And mountains is such a great card. Unless you're against Blizzards, then you just kind of get yourself whooped. Then you have 3 Blizzards. I felt 3 is better. I'm sure if I get the recycle engine going, I don't need all 3. But because this deck is such a hybrid, being able to search for all 3 is really good in case I don't get all the pieces. Because there were times where, because of my ratios, I rarely ever saw this Fridge Cub, and I never saw both Shiveroars. I saw one or the other. So it all depends. Then I have 2 Keons. I probably don't need the second Keon. That would probably be one of the biggest changes I make to this deck. I only ever saw 1, but at the same time you can argue because there's 2, I saw it more frequently because I had 2 versus if I had 1. But that's neither here nor there. Then the standard rune back row, we have the 3 shields, 3 PTAs, which are really important now against Werepups, and then the Nyx Mara. Because Nyx Mara gets popped by PTA in the end phase. It's such a lifesaver. If you don't have that, Nyx Mara can run out of control. Poison Tipped Arrow is a great counter for going first, and then your opponent decides to try to turbo out Werepup like a Void. It saved me a decent amount of time for this. Then I have the 3 Gorgons to try to stop whatever I need to. And then I have 3 Ambrosias. Pretty standard. Not much has truly deviated from this deck. Alright. That's all of the main deck. And now we will delve into the side deck. Well, let's go into the Spirit deck first. Spirit deck, like I was saying, the last one had 2 Water Spirits and the rest Frost. The only difference to this one, I have 3 Water, the rest were Frost. So I added additional water and took away Frost. Now, what I could do is add some Harpoons as additional searchers to keep these waters. Because the main reason why I have the waters is to for the Cryoverns to make them water enchanted so they don't get affected by Tsunami. That's really the only reason. So what I could do is add Harpoons. I could probably take out the 1 Keon. Let's see. Take out the 1 Keon and probably... What else would I take out? Let me go back through this deck real quick. Even though I just went over it. And probably 1 Blizzard and go a little bit more with 2 Harpoons and make it more Elestral heavy. Because that would take away 2 of my runes. And just give 2 more Elestrals. Because right now my ratio is split evenly 20-20. So doing it 22-18, it wouldn't be so bad for this deck. And then I just basically always have a response. But that's something for the future. There are some ideas I have to make this deck even better. And now we will delve into my side deck. I will say my side deck was not optimized. I literally took what was kind of standard for most Frost decks at the time, and then what most cards were seen in side decks. So I have 1 Rusting. I really would probably rarely ever see this. I think I would probably benefit the most from this going turn 2 and your opponent goes the Like Void package and does that turn 1, and then you can get rid of one of their pups, and then you can just start getting over it that way. You have 2 Cryo Blast. Pretty standard unless you're pretty standard. I'm already playing in an element. It's a great way to reduce stuff to help pop. I have 3 Alternative Stars because my deck is pretty Nexus heavy. This is a great way to stop your opponent from being able to go over anything. I think I benefited from this a couple times. Sorry about that. My dogs are banging at the door. We have 2 Divine Blessings, which I feel is pretty needed for this. It's to help stop hurricanes, which I feel more people are going to be on hurricane this season. It doesn't stop Blizzard, unfortunately. Can stop Thunderstorm, but I don't think I would do that. I would just let them trade. But, for example, a EQ, a Restings, I would definitely stop it in a heartbeat. Pandora's Boxes. 1 Pandora's Box. I could probably go to 2, but that's not what I have in this deck right now. Pandora's Box is mainly to try to stop searches like Werepup trying to get Full Moon into trying to ascend into Like a Void. that would stop it and go from there. Then we have Divine Healing. I could probably swap those out. I never sided those in. And if I'm only going down to one key owned, the likelihood of me swapping them in is going to be very slim. It'd probably have to be a real tight scenario when I would do that. So I'd probably put Pandora's boxes in for those. Then I have two Mythrosal's of Boreas. I already have the water and I already have the frost. And this is, for example, if I go up against the Zeus deck, which I did in the premiere. I didn't side those in just because I was just able to control my opponent's board. But this is a great way to lock down artifacts or divines and make them face down. That way my Blizzard is able to deal with them, because normally Blizzard can't deal with face up cards. And so if your artifact is face down or your divine is face down, I can pop them for free. So it's really great. Then, because I'm on the Cryo package, I do have the one Cryo Scorch and the one Vapyro. I feel I probably could have sided that in more and probably could have won all my matches if I did that. Because there were enough times where my opponent was super low and I really didn't have much cards in my hand to where I could have done that. But that's on me. There were some situations where I felt I probably didn't need it. But that's it for the deck profile. We will be now moving into the next segment of the video, which you'll see a match of me using this deck against one of my friends. I hope you enjoy. After you get done with that match, if you want to watch a best of 3, this video will only have a best of 1. I suggest you go to the Elestrals channel and watch the live stream, or you wait a few days where they post my top 8 match using this deck, and then have fun. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. I would greatly appreciate it. We're slowly making our climb to 500 subscribers. I'm hoping to get that by July 4th, which is in a month, because that'll be our year anniversary. So my goal is to get to 500 subscribers by my YouTube anniversary. So this is SorenPlays signing off. Catch you later. Bye. Alright, I will go first. I will keep as well. I will start with an expend to draw. And I will pass to you.
Set 2. Then I will cast Titanic Strike, Champion Zeus.
Okay.
Activate effect, grab a Thunderstorm.
Alright.
I will then enter battle and swing for 1.
Alright, sounds good. I'll take it. Alright, my turn. I will draw. I will cast Blizzard on the rune underneath Titanic Strike.
It is a shield.
Alright. I will cast a Mountain of Boreas. And then I will cast out a Frigid Cup, the original one from Frostball. Respond to cast.
Poison Tip Terror.
Okay. 4. That puts me to 5. I can't get over it. End phase, will you be paying out?
Yes.
Okay.
Draw for turn. Cast Champion Fulgaris on attack mode.
Okay.
I will set 1 and then punch for 2.
Okay, sounds good. I'll take the 2. Alright. I will draw for turn. I will set 1. I will cast out Cryoling. Respond to cast.
No response.
Cryoling's effect. I have 7 in the Underworld, so it'll be enough to ascend. I'll ascend from my hand Cryovern. I will give him a Water Spirit. Respond to cast.
Okay.
Cryovern will swing over Fulgaris.
I will take 1.
Okay. Your turn. 3,
Draw
6,
for turn.
7, 8, 9, 10. Puts me to 10 spirits.
That's Thunderstorm on the background.
In response, I will Gorgons your Titanic Strike.
Okay. I will then cast Galaxy Air in attack mode.
Okay.
Alexander will switch your stats, so now you're a 5 attacker.
Okay.
It will play Zeus
Okay.
for 2.
Yep.
Zeus disenchant, drop you down to a 2.
Okay.
Alexander swing.
Alright, sounds good.
And pass.
I will draw for turn. I will cast Brumeline's Champion of Kion. Respond to cast.
No response.
I will use Brumeline's effect. I will get a Blizzard. I will cast Blizzard on your face down.
Race to the top.
Okay. I'll have Broomeling swing over your Titanic Strike. Alright, your turn.
Stats are a 5-3 right now.
Yes.
That's Paul Gary's in attack mode.
Okay.
Zeus did disenchant to lower your guy.
Yep.
We'll have Paul Gary swing and then Galaxy for 1.
Alright, I will take a water. I will draw for turn. I will cast Broomeling's Champion of Kion. Broomeling's effect.
Yep.
Blizzard. And then Broomeling's will go swing over the Galaxy. Or Galaxy, I should say. Your turn.
Draw for turn. I'm going to cast Jolton in attack mode.
Okay.
Activate Jolton's effect. Out of the Mount Olympus engine.
Mm-hmm. And you'll activate it. Okay.
Jolton swing over, Full Gary's for 1.
Okay. I'm down to 2. I'll draw for turn. And that'll be game. GG's. My card draws were not that good that game, but it is what it is. Thank you for the match.